Well, g'day flatties and globe defenders. It's Critical Think from Down Under. Yes, I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube making a video, but here I am. Yes, I've shifted house and it's been a lot of work. Still a little bit more work to go, but I've still had time to go out, take some photos, and I hope you'll enjoy this piece of work that I've put together today. This saga all began when Bob produced this video that showed a shadow cast on the bottom of the clouds by the sun, which is impossible on a flat earth, and the sun would have to be lower than the clouds for this to happen, and in this case that is indeed so. So this flat earth YouTuber, who is appropriately named p-brane, thinks himself very clever and is suffering under the delusion that he has somehow debunked the sun shining on the bottom of the clouds. Now, he may fool the gullible flat earthers with his snake oil nonsense, but there are many people in possession of more than just a couple of neurons that are not buying this bollocks. He has already been ridiculed and destroyed, but it seems that selling t-shirts is far more important than seeking the truth. Although he has made a rather dodgy attempt at showing a shadow shining on the bottom of a model cloud, his main focus is attempting to assert that the sun is always above the clouds, even when these pictures show that it is obviously not the case. He goes on further to make a ridiculous claim that a shadow on top of the clouds is visible below.
You know what's going on? The top of the mountain is actually above the clouds. And what we see there is a shadow cast from the top of the mountain.
First of all, a couple of things wrong with this picture. See, that shadow on the left ends. Look at the angle of the shadow on the left. The shadow on the right just keeps on going. Funny about that. And look at the colour of these clouds. Now look at the colour of the picture on the right. Do you happen to notice any difference? Now, if p-brane wants to assert that the image on the left and the image on the right can occur at the same time, then first of all, these images must be taken on the same day at the same time. Is this what he has here? Of course not. These images are taken on different days at different times. That's just a little bit sus, don't you think? So here is the challenge for you, p-brane and company. Show us these two events happening at the same time. Good luck with that. Here's another thing. How can a shadow penetrate such a thick layer of cloud like this? Has anyone ever seen a shadow cast through such a thick cloud layer like this? I haven't. Also, unfortunately for p-brane and friends, the top of the mountain can clearly be seen below the clouds in these pictures. So, p-brane and all your mates, how can the shadow be on top of the clouds when the top of the mountain is below the clouds? Another flat earth YouTuber named The BuzzDev put together a model in Blender in an attempt to illustrate the point that p-brane was making with the cloud shadow. He has some great modelling skills and he's quite a nice bloke. He did send me his model so that I could play with it and check his numbers. That's pretty good of him. Here is his animation. Now note carefully the movement of the sun in this model. Now the camera's moving there. Camera's gone above the mist or clouds. Camera's moving around, giving you a different angle. The animation starts again, so you'll get another chance to look at it. So watch the movement of the sun. Camera moves. Look where the sun is. It's a great simulation, and it does simulate a flat earth by having a sun that is constant height above a flat plane. There are, however, some serious issues with this animation that need to be discussed. First of all, I would not describe this sun as well above the clouds. It is about 1.5 degrees above the flat plane. If you were to correctly model a flat Earth, the sun would need to be around 18 degrees above. It's no good constructing a model to show a point if your model does not reflect the reality. Now, this figure of 18 degrees comes from the sun being approximately 3,000 miles high and 9,000 miles away at sunrise. Secondly, in the simulated sunrise, the sun is seen to travel from right to left horizontally. Now, the only place you'll come close to seeing that would be somewhere near the South Pole. And if you were to time-lapse the sun at Mount Rainier, it would look nothing like that. The point I am making here is that the model is constructed to fit a particular narrative and only that narrative. But the inconvenient details, like how the movement of the sun does not match observed reality, are overlooked. Here's another thing. This is a still from the animation showing a view from the bottom. The claim here is made that it looks like clouds are lit from the bottom. Well, it looks nothing like that. The cloud layer is thin and wispy. The sun is higher than the clouds, and you can see the top of the mountain through the clouds. It certainly looks like the shadow of a mountain, but not one that is projected upwards onto thick clouds. You will see this kind of shadow if you have a misty atmosphere, but it doesn't look anything like clouds lit underneath. As I said, the BuzzDev was kind enough to give me his model to play with, and he was a great help in showing me how it works. I did alter the height of the sun so that it would more closely simulate the flat Earth model. I put this into the Blender model, and you can see that at the flat Earth sunrise, the shadow would be much different. It would be shorter. 18 degrees, remember. The argument about whether the sun is above or below the clouds is just a little irrelevant when even the above the clouds image is impossible on a flat Earth. As p-brane would say, the shadow knows.
And the shadow knows. The shadow doesn't lie.
But now listen to this gem from p-brane.
And isn't that evidence for the flat Earth, where the sun is always above the mountain, as opposed to your model where the sun goes down due to the rotation of the Earth and is actually below the mountain?
Well, no, it's not really evidence for the flat Earth. This is an astoundingly ridiculous assertion, given that on the globe Earth, the sun is also above the clouds for the vast majority of the day, except for a few minutes at sunrise and sunset. The sun will be seen above the clouds. In fact, the sun angle depicted by these shadows on the left is in fact impossible on a flat Earth.
So you, like I said earlier, you just debunked the spinning ball, because we always see this shadow in the morning and at the end of the day, sunset.
Yes, we always see this, except when we see this. And would you believe it? This picture clearly debunks the flat Earth. I'll tell you why. See this shadow that stretches out a very long way, or about a couple hundred miles? Well, you know that it starts to get smaller because of perspective, right? That's not a mountain peak you can see there. I mean, you do know how perspective works, don't you? This also means that the angle of the sun is below the top of the mountain. Why do I say this? Because you can see that the shadow appears to rise above the horizon, and according to flat earthers, the horizon is at eye level. So the light casting the shadow has to be below eye level. Remember, p-brane, shadows never lie.
A delicious irony indeed, as we turn a flat earth proof into a spinning ball proof.
A favourite tactic of flat earthers is to demand proof that is very difficult to achieve. They can then feel warm and fuzzy about their pancake world, claiming that the earth is flat because no one can meet their challenge. Very disingenuous.
So here's my assignment for you, Bob. Show me one photo with a shadow cast on the underside of the clouds from the peak of the mountain.
First off, do you notice that many of these pictures have very long shadows that are impossible on a flat earth? Figure that one out. Now I'll tell you why this request of p-brane's is an unreasonable request. The sun shining on the bottom of the clouds is, first of all, a rare event, and it's only visible for a couple of minutes, so it's not so easy to capture. People that happen to be lucky enough to take a snapshot or video of this event are, strangely enough, not sitting at the top of Mount Rainier having their morning cuppa. To climb Mount Rainier in the hope of seeing this phenomenon would be a silly idea. It's even sillier when you think that no flat earther will accept any such proof, even if you were lucky enough to be able to capture it. So here's my assignment for you, p-brane. Show me this event and this event happening at the same time. I mean, if the sun is always above the clouds, and if the shadow always projects downward, this should be a piece of cake for you. No, I'm not going to travel to Mount Rainier and camp out on the mountaintop for days, hoping to capture a photo that you want. But what I have managed to do is go to the highest peak on the Redcliffe Peninsula at sundown and photograph a shadow on a surface above me. Now, here is a photo of a shadow shining on the bottom of a surface above me. Now here is a video which shows I am almost directly below this underlit surface. If you imagine for a minute that the water tower represents a cloud, then there we have it, the sun shining on the underneath. Here's a picture I've taken of the tower from further away, so you can see the bottom is flat. Although it does look flat, from my calculations I would say that the bottom surface has a slope of between 1 and 2 degrees. But the important thing is, we all know that a flat earth sun can never actually get that low. 18 degrees, remember. According to flat earthers, the sun is never actually that low, it just appears to be low due to perspective. But unfortunately for them, their shadows never lie, and the sun has to be lower to cast that shadow. Good luck trying to claim that the shadow is shining through the top of the concrete tower. And forget any hope of blaming this on any kind of reflection. The direct light from the sun is shining on the tower, and this would drown out any reflection. So, p-brane and flat-headed friends, put this in your pipe and smoke it.